Welcome to Radio 64. Welcome to Radio 64 Video Game Music Remix Radio. I'm your host, Eric Mickles, also known online as duskvstweak. Radio 64 is part of the Radio Meanwhile network. Visit radiomeanwhile.com for more information about this and other great podcasts. Share your thoughts on this episode and request music by following the show on Facebook or Twitter at Radio64Pod. Please rate, subscribe, and share this show on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. That first track of the episode was called Bad Octopus by Fishy, an expert novice from ocremix.org from the game Final Fantasy VI. And that track specifically comes from Final Fantasy VI Balance and Ruin, a massive Final Fantasy VI tribute album with some beautiful cover art as well. That song, Bad Octopus, comes in hard and doesn't let go, but it's so fun and quirky. And I love it because Ultros in Final Fantasy VI, that big purple octopus who bothers you while you're rafting down those white water rapids and then breaks in on the opera scene. He's just such a ridiculous character. I can't help but love him with my whole heart. This song, this tribute to Ultros, that wacky purple octopus, I love it. It's such a fast-paced and aggressive song that really feels very tongue-in-cheek and joyful. Maybe it's that clarinet that keeps it from having too hard of an edge. I tried out the new Phantasy Star Online 2, because it came to the Microsoft Store, though I think it's actually coming to some other things soon too. And I like it for the most part. It's such an info dump that every person you talk to is just dialogue box after dialogue box after dialogue box with the tiniest text and the most information they could fit on screen. It's too much for me, but once you get past a lot of that, the gameplay it's fun. It's kind of it comes across kind of mindless. It reminds me a bit of just playing Dynasty Warriors, going in, bashing a lot of monsters and just moving along. Except I tried to fight a monster. I tried to do a mission that was a couple levels over me and I got wrecked. So maybe, keep my brain on for that. This track reminds me of the lobby music that you hear in Phantasy Star Online 2. This actually comes from the first PSO. It doesn't sound like the sound has changed much between the two games. I really like the synth piece. Maybe because it is so spacey, but it also still has a very jazzy piano sound to it all. It's just a relaxing sound. And maybe it has something to do with the fact that the original game was from like 2000, 2001, so they were just, they were really testing out some of that new technology. And that was beyond the Sega Dreamcast, so, This is called Ragol Weather by Zircon from ocremix.org from the game Phantasy Star Online. That was called Ragol Weather by Zircon from ocremix.org from the game Phantasy Star Online. Not the most intense Zircon track. Zircon can really let things rip when he wants to, but this is a much more chill piece, a bit more relaxing. It really does have that lobby vibe. And maybe this track doesn't come from the lobby theme, but yeah, it definitely this is a menu track to me when I hear this. Just relax, get through all the inventory selection before you can go out and really wreck some space monsters. We've got a remix of Lavender Town from the original Pokemon games, Red and Blue. And Lavender Town is one of those creepy tracks, the creepiest track on Pokemon, one of the creepiest tracks out there. There are some remixes of the Lavender Town theme that I put in my Halloween mix because they just feel absolutely perfect for October. But this one, I think, is a bit more cinematic and a bit slower. This track kind of goes beyond that. It's the cinematic nature of it just kind of makes it more of a sad song, really, rather than a creepy one. It's a bit more The Last of Us, a bit more Walking Dead in its thoughtfulness and its meditation. Pretty sad song of a normally pretty disturbing and off-putting Pokemon theme. So this is Farewell Beloved Ones by Danilo Ciaffi from ocremix.org from the game Pokemon Red. That was Farewell Beloved Ones by Danilo Ciaffi from ocremix.org from the game Pokemon Red. It's a really interesting take on that Lavender Town theme. It's really beautiful considering how creepy Lavender Town is. It really is just a lovely, mournful piece of music. But luckily we're going to cheer things up a bit because we got a track from Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins, which I didn't play. I really liked Super Mario Land on the Game Boy when I was a kid, but I don't remember really asking for the sequel. Maybe I just didn't know it existed. Yeah, and when I got older and I started finding out there was a Mario Land 2 and a Mario Land 3 and then the Wario games, I just didn't follow the series through. But this track, it's pure Mario. It's just so fun. I mean, you make a Mario song that's happy, you're doing right by it. This is a bouncy EDM synth piece of the Mario Land music. It's just so fun and happy, joyful, with a lot of wavy textures. This is a departure from that Pokemon theme we just played. This is called Seeing Stars by Matt Bounds from ocremix.org from the game Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins. That was Seeing Stars by Matt Bounds from ocremix.org from the game Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. From the Game Boy to the Game Boy Advance, from a happy song to another pretty solemn song. This is coming from Golden Sun. Really, graphically, Golden Sun was beautiful and really showed off what the Game Boy Advance could do. It was just so colorful, and the attacks were just so bright and well animated. It really nailed that elemental feel of all the spells in there and just these colorful, expressive sprites. It really just kind of was like eye-poppingly gorgeous on that little Game Boy Advance screen, even if you could barely see it until you got the Game Boy Advance SP. Maybe this remix isn't necessarily sad. It's remixing the Elemental Stars track from Golden Sun, which I think I hear and I get very nostalgic and very sad while listening to it. But this, it still has that, but there's a lot of rock guitar in this that I think keeps it from really giving into that melancholy, but it's not too different from that Pokemon theme we heard. So this is Soul Sanctum Guitar by EGM from ocremix.org from the game Golden Sun. That was Soul Sanctum Guitar by EGM from ocremix.org from the game Golden Sun. It really was an impressive title on that GBA. I'm constantly going back and playing Pac-Man Championship Edition DX because it's just so fast-paced and fun. Whenever I'm between games or not feeling a certain game, I throw on a Pac-Man Championship Edition, and I have a good time until I just can't do it. I'm trying to beat 2 million on the 5-minute score. I can't do it. It's killing me how much I can't do it. And I don't think the first Pac-Man is well known for having a crazy soundtrack, but there is music in there that I think when we hear it, we go, oh, that's Pac-Man, especially the start music, which this track is remixing, though it's making it this longer ambient tune that feels like you're in a temple rather than just the Pac-Man stage. That temple style of music that I'm hearing is coming from the marimba, or at least I think it's a marimba. I could be wrong. I don't necessarily have the best ear for picking out different instruments, but it sounds very much like a marimba in there, taking that short little Pac-Man track and making it into this echoey, vast exploration of the Pac-Man adventure. This is Glass Cage by Israfel from ocremix.org from the game Pac-Man. That was Glass Cage by Israfel from ocumix.org from the game Pac-Man, the first Pac-Man. Pac-Man Championship Edition is just killing me. I just want to break 2 million. And there are some days I got like 1.9 million and I can't even get up to my own score. I'm just like, why can't I get... forget it. All right, this is one of my favorite tracks. This comes from Portal 2. It's called Reconstructing Lemons. It's the Reconstructing Science tune, but it brings in the J.K. Simmons voice work that he did in Portal 2, specifically when he's talking about lemons and moon rocks, and he's just going on in these tangents. And it's just absolutely hilarious. I mean, anyone who's played Portal 2 knows that J.K. Simmons going on his lemon tangent and moonrock tangent is hilarious, but putting this song and just making it the absolute focus of this track, it's so fun. I mean, there's a hard edge around this the synth in here. It's kind of aggressive, but then it matches J.K. Simmons' character's very aggressive soapbox in this. So this is Reconstructing Lemons by Chimpazilla from ocumix.org from the game Portal 2.
Welcome to the Enrichment Center. First up, conversion gel. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Let's all stay positive and do some science.
Yes, sir.
Lemon! Human testing. There's still a few things left to wrap up, though. The bean counters told me we literally could not afford to buy $7 worth of moon rocks, much less 70 million. Bought them anyway. Ground them up, mixed them into a gel. Guess what? Ground up moon rocks are pure poison. I am deathly ill. please bring me more pain pills?
That was Reconstructing Lemons by Chimpazilla from ocremix.org from the game Portal 2. The Cave Johnson stuff in Portal 2 is very funny. The Wheatley stuff is very funny. A lot of good stuff in Portal 2. And I know some consider it like one of the greatest games ever made. I think, make me choose. I'm going back to the first Portal. The first Portal's a lot more focused, and I think I got lost once or twice in Portal 2 just because they made it so much bigger. I had a hard time at certain spots trying to figure out where I was supposed to put a portal, and not necessarily like how to solve a puzzle, just like I don't know where anything is right now. We have a lovely piano piece coming from the late Reuben Key. It's coming from Parasite Eve, a game that is on my list. That's a PS1 JRPG coming from Square. It's been on my list for a while, but there's still so many, like I still gotta play Legend of Dragoon, I still gotta play Xenogears, I still gotta play Wild Arms, I still gotta play Suikoden 2. Parasite Eve is there, but it's like in 5th place or so I'm like, when will I get to it? And it's a Christmas game, right? Maybe that should just be it. I'll just wait until December, and I'll play Parasite Eve only because it's a Christmas game. Now, that's actually a pretty good idea. All right, that's what I'm going to do. This is a really lovely piano piece, a solo piano piece. It's remixing the main theme, the piano solo version, from Yoko Shimomura's soundtrack from Parasite Eve. And yeah, there's darkness in this track, but it's not really a creepy track, which I was a little bit surprised by, considering Parasite Eve is a bit of a horror title. So this is Beauty's Abomination by Reuben Key, ocremix.org from the game Parasite Eve. That was Beauty's Abomination by Reuben Key from ocremix.org from the game Parasite Eve. That's what I'm going to do. December's coming around. I'm going to play Parasite Eve. All right, here's something a little different. And I've never heard of this game. I had to look it up to see what kind of game it is. It's called Superstar Soldier. It is one of those scrolling shooter videos. I think the term these days is bullet hell. It's a vertical scrolling shooter. If it's not bullet hell, my apologies. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what bullet hell and twin stick shooters are. Yeah, one of those vertical scrolling shooter games. It looks intense. Having watched some gameplay footage of it, it looks like a lot is happening all at once. I probably would have liked playing it, but I didn't have, 91 it came to the TurboGrafx, so I didn't have a TurboGrafx 16. I didn't know anyone who had one. I didn't even know it existed until I was much older, so never would have played it. But this track, I wouldn't call this track aggressive, but it's definitely high energy, and it matches the gameplay footage I saw. Just pure adrenaline going through this track. This is Hardcore Densehead by djpretzel from ocremix.org from the game Superstar Soldier. That was Hardcore Densehead by djpretzel from ocremix.org from the game Superstar Soldier. And it's funny because djpretzel usually has a very funky hip-hop influenced style of music, but this one I think is just, that pure electro sound in there. The tempo is just too fast. Even though it has this kind of like militaristic marching vibe to it all. You know what I wish? I wish that there was a little bit of electric guitar in there. I think that would really spice things up. But you know what? I don't compose music, so I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time. And now we have a big, bold orchestral piece coming from the soundtrack of Dark Cloud 2. This is a pretty bombastic strings piece. And Dark Cloud 2 was such a wonderful game on the PlayStation 2. I didn't play the first Dark Cloud, but Dark Cloud 2 had that wonderful cel-shaded graphics. And it had that kind of time travel thing where you'd have to like level build in the past and then you jump to the future to see the things that you've done. And to do that, you'd have to go through the levels, fight enemies and clear things out to get the pieces that you need to build the huts and the trees and everything. It was one of those more important games in my journey as I was just starting to explore the JRPG genre, because it was more of an action JRPG, but it still had a lot of those more traditional elements in its story. Yeah, it just looks so pretty. Those cel-shaded graphics were just gorgeous. And the music was really great too. This one is remixing the Piece of the World track from it. But yeah, just a big bombastic orchestral piece. This is Fishing Spirit by Moomba from ocremix.org from the game Dark Cloud 2. That was Fishing Spirit by Moomba from ocremix.org from the game Dark Cloud 2. Throwing me right back into memory lane with Dark Cloud 2. That was really something. That was the last track of the show, so thank you for listening to Radio 64 Video Game Music Remix Radio. I have been your host, Eric Mickles, also known online as duskvstweak, and you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, anywhere online that I am duskvstweak. So Radio 64 is part of the Radio Meanwhile network. Visit radiomeanwhile.com for more information about this and other great podcasts. Share your thoughts on this episode and request music by following the show on Facebook or Twitter at Radio64Pod. Please rate, subscribe, and share this show on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening.